Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Mason, and this is another episode of Awesome Vegan.
Welcome to Chicago. I am with the very fabulous Dr. Terry Mason. So let's just explain to the world what your life is like as COO of Illinois' Cook County Department of Public Health. It has to be madness.
It's not madness, but it's manageable.
Oh,
it's manageable madness.
You're an expert, that's why.
Well, I've done it for a while.
Yeah.
So it's not so bad. It's busy, but it's not so bad. But there are a lot of things going on in public health.
Yes.
We've got measles that we're worried about now, although for the most part, for those people who haven't been vaccinated, that's only the real worry. For people who have been vaccinated, for the most part, they should be fine. We are dealing with other issues in the county right now, our sexually transmitted infections issues, our chronic disease issues, and that's really why this is so important, because we can talk about if we do these right things, we can eliminate or greatly reduce most of these so-called chronic diseases.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the chronic diseases that you see because of diet. So I know that you are a vegan. Maybe we'll step back and you can tell us why you're vegan and when did you go vegan?
Back in 2000, God, I can't remember when it was. So long ago. It's about 2006 or 5, somewhere in there.
Okay, good 15 years.
Somewhere around there. I was a guy who was a steak a day guy.
You're that guy. Okay.
Yeah, I used to eat a porterhouse steak every single day.
Boo.
I used to do it. And then I ended up on a treadmill, having chest pain.
Oh gosh.
At the gym.
Yeah.
And I did something really stupid. I got off the treadmill, got in the car, drove myself to the hospital.
Oh, okay. So is that a tip for all of us? We should not drive ourselves to the hospital?
We should not drive ourselves to the hospital.
Okay.
Especially if you're having chest pain.
Yes, right.
Because you don't want to pass out while you're driving.
No, that's a bad move.
That's a bad move.
Noted, everybody.
Yeah, but I did it anyway. And ended up at the hospital, saw a cardiologist, my good friend, the cardiologist. He says, well, we're just going to have to do a angiogram because you already failed your stress test.
Right, sure.
Because I was on a treadmill,
so that's your stress
pain.
Yes,
that's stress test. And so I did that. I had a blockage, and they put in a stent. And then he said, well, you're going to need to take Lipitor for a long time. It's going to need to do that. And I said, well, why don't I really think about not doing that? And why not just eliminate all the sources that I was eating that had cholesterol? So he said, well, if you could do that, he said, I'd be willing to see how you do. I said, no problem. And that was when I stopped.
And was it one day to the next because your health was on the line?
One day to the next.
I like it. Okay, so you are obviously a doctor, so you're used to looking at medical information. But for the average person, is that information out there for them as well to look up what causes high cholesterol? Can anyone find this information?
Anybody can find this. Most of the cholesterol that we get, there's some conditions where you actually make, and those are rare.
I was going to say very rare.
But the most common reason why people have elevated cholesterol is the fact that they're eating from saturated fats, animal fats, with anything that's solid at room temperature is a bad fat.
Okay, so you cut out meat,
eggs, dairy, cheese, everything.
Okay, and oils as well? Did you cut out oil?
I did a little olive oil from time to time on my salad, and sometimes as part of the vinaigrette, there's a little oil, but for the most part, it's done.
It's done. Okay. So you decided for health reasons about 14 years ago.
But let me just say something else.
Yes, please.
Since that time, what we really learned was it wasn't the cholesterol at all from one point of view. It was the inflammation that eating this stuff created. So it's inflammation that was having this repeated damage to the arteries every time that I ate this stuff. That was causing the damage to the inside lining of the arteries that were trying to heal themselves. And by the time they started to try to heal themselves, whammo, I hit them again with another meal, with the cheese or the eggs. And I didn't drink milk because I was lactose intolerant, so I didn't have to worry about that.
And most African Americans are lactose intolerant, as I understand.
Many Italians too.
And many Italians. Now that's interesting because I've never liked milk, but my father had a dairy intolerance. He's Sicilian. So it's interesting that Italians are too.
Some are. Yeah, there are other people in the Mediterranean.
Asians as well.
There are a number of people that are lactose intolerant. So, but a lot of it are African American. And so that was never an issue for me.
Okay. So you've been vegan, as I say, for about 14 years, but you're also at the heart of Chicago's public health system. Give me a snapshot of what you see from a dietary perspective, because I know there's sexually transmitted diseases and other things, but from a dietary perspective, what chronic diseases do you see on a regular basis? Give me a snapshot of America as you see it right here in Chicago.
Well, first of all, let me just make a distinction between what most people think of when they think of public health and what it actually is.
Okay, great, thank you. I'm probably one of those.
Public health has nothing to do with clinics, nothing to do with doctors, nothing to do with medicine, nothing to do with surgeries, has nothing to do with any of that. Public health really works on where people are exposed to things that make them either live longer or die shorter.
So from a scholastic standpoint,
so
you're saying.
it's where people, the things that's most important to determine a person's health is where they work, live, and play.
Okay.
And so your environment, the environment around, that's why your zip code is a better determiner of how long you're going to live than your genetic code.
Oh, I didn't know that your zip code, you can tell
absolutely
because of the factors in that neighborhood.
In those neighborhoods. And what that means is there access to good places to get things to eat?
Right.
Can you walk?
Is it safe? Right.
Are there good schools? Are there opportunities for families to do things collectively? Are there things that children can run and play freely? Those are the things. Is the housing stock? Is it safe? It's not full of lead or something like that. So those things are what public health is about. That's why I left what I was doing on the medical side.
As a urologist.
Because what you have to understand is that there's nothing that I did as a physician that healed anybody. What I did was manage a disease, but I never healed it.
So I think
you understand?
I do, because you've hit on the frustration of most Americans. They go to the doctor and nothing is really healed. It's just managed with pills.
That's right.
And that's one of the benefits of a plant-based diet. As you recognized yourself 14 years ago, let's not go the pill route and let's see what I can do with what I put in my body myself.
Absolutely. And so it's not about, and what we should think about is not look at being plant-based as an alternative to taking medication. Because it's very different. The medications manage the symptoms, but they never manage the complication. Plant-based foods actually prevent the complication from ever happening.
From ever starting.
And even if you have it, you can begin, because I begged my cardiologist to let me go and spend 6 weeks with Dean Ornish at that time.
The fabulous Dean Ornish, yes.
Because he was talking about his program for heart disease back in those days. So the difference is, I don't look at this vegan way of eating as a diet. I don't.
It's a lifestyle, right?
It's just the way we should eat. And you don't do it for anything but to give the body what it really needs to maintain the health that you would naturally have. So the vegan diet or the plant-based diet is not inflammatory. So you don't have to worry about the heart disease, the so-called heart disease, or the so-called strokes, or the so-called peripheral vascular disease. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry as much about even things like, and Neil Barnard did a great YouTube talking about Alzheimer's and looking in the relationship to what we're eating to Alzheimer's. So this is not another fad. It is the way we were created to eat. For those people who read Bibles, and it's very clear. Genesis 1:29 is very clear. And what if you believe, and I'm not saying you have to, but if you believe that we were created by and in the image of our Creator, and that person is the author of all information and knows how he put us together, then wouldn't you then take the owner's manual
and follow it?
And follow it. because we suffer unnecessarily from things. We don't have to have these things.
So what does Genesis 1:29 actually say? Because I'm not religious personally, but I want to know.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it actually says, because I'm going to go. I don't want to paraphrase it.
Okay.
I want to go to the New International Version of the Bible.
Okay.
And we're going to get it.
Okay.
And as soon as we're going to have to power up.
Okay, no problem.
But we'll come back.
While we're powering up, we're going to get to church here, people. So while we're powering up, I also wanted to ask, the last time we spoke, you had some wonderful statistics about how you're talking about the natural way to eat is a plant-based diet. Perhaps even religiously, it's what we were meant to do, you're saying. Tell me about some of the numbers of the quantities of meat, chicken, etc., that we eat now compared to, let's say,
1950.
1950.
Compared
Okay.
to 1950.
Listen to this, folks.
We're eating at least 57 pounds more chicken per person.
A year? Or what is this?
57 more pounds of chicken per year per person.
That's disgusting.
57 pounds. That's between 1950 and 2000. I don't have the numbers for 2000 to 2000.
Oh my God, that's not even today's numbers.
No, and so overall, we're eating close to 100 pounds more meat today than we were in 1950.
Wow.
It's actually like 87 pounds.
So it's no surprise then that you're seeing colorectal cancer and obviously heart disease. It's not surprised that these things are coming to our system because it's just too much.
It's too much.
So I want to sort of hit on that again. If you say that public health is not about the clinic work, but it's about the environment that people live in, then, and I don't know if you can answer this question because it's not 100% your area, but then why don't we pay more attention to children's school lunch programs? Because the reason people eat poorly at 40 is because they were taught to eat poorly at 9 or 7
well, let
or
me
10.
Tell you.
So,
well, they're taught, but more importantly being taught, they're taught and it's reinforced.
Through advertising and
through
lifestyle.
Advertising and through the, you got to remember that oftentimes early on, particularly when I was in school, what we ate was really the government surplus program.
Right.
It was the tomatoes that they processed, it was milk, it was meat, egg, it was whatever,
cheese, yeah.
Potatoes.
The checkoff program, really.
Program.
And for those who don't know what the checkoff program is, go ahead and Google it. It's a government checkoff program. I'll also give you my paraphrase of what that is while he's looking up the Bible.
Because I wanted to read it. I was going to paraphrase it, but I wanted to read it.
Okay.
It says, "Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food."
You heard it here. We're quoting the Bible. We're going to church. I love that. So you're saying this is Genesis 1:29.
Genesis 1:29.
Of what has been given to us to eat. So it does not say anywhere, again, I'm not religious, so I'm going to ask the expert, Jesus never ate meat, right? I'm going to
I'm going to say what
New
it says.
Testament, right? Okay.
I'm saying what it says here.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, people say, well, that was then. But no, I'm saying, no. When you buy a car, you get an owner's manual.
And you follow
and that owner's manual tells you what kind of gas to put in your car. If you want to shortcut and do a much lower octane rated gas than your car requires, it's not going to perform well. And you're going to perhaps damage some parts inside your car. It's no different with the food. You can choose not to eat vegan, and that's fine if you choose that. But if you choose that, then do not expect this wonderfully made body to optimally perform, because it will not.
So I interviewed a colleague and friend of yours, Dr. Kim Williams, and we had a conversation about people making a choice, and if you choose not to eat vegan, that's up to you. But then they're bankrupting Medicaid. So how are we as a society? You know, it's one thing if people want to do things that only affect themselves, but when it affects society as a whole, it's harder for me to say, go ahead and do whatever you want. So when you're cutting down people's trees that they need for their kids' future on the planet, I have trouble saying, go ahead and do what you want. What do you think about this?
Well, I think even more importantly to that same point, because we spend so much resources in water, And we produce more greenhouse gases than all of the emissions from cars, trains, boats, and planes together.
That is right.
Okay? From doing what's necessary to feed and grow livestock. Not to mention the runoff from the bowel movements of these animals into our streams, creating dead zones and all kinds of other things. So there are so many downstream effects that not only is that hurt our human bodies. You know, it's interesting to me. You know what's really interesting? That the things that we kill to eat are killing us
when
we eat them.
Not lost on me. I get that. You guys get that too.
Does that make sense?
It doesn't. I understand that we're doing it, but we are hurting ourselves.
That's right. So
it's
almost like revenge. Because we're killing the chickens, and we're killing all of the cows, and we're killing the sheep, and we're killing all of these animals, innocent animals. And then when we're eating them, the things the part that we're eating, their muscle flesh.
And their angst, and their fear, and their anxiety. Oh my word.
And their organs, many times. We're eating liver, we're eating these things. All of these things contain chemicals like the iron in the liver is very inflammatory.
Oh.
The blood that's in the...
I didn't know that.
Yes, the blood is very inflammatory. And many people eat their steaks rare. They eat their beef not well cooked.
Right.
Not that cooking makes a difference, because even if you do cook it, you still get the inflammatory problem. Right. So it wasn't hard for me to make this jump, because as a urologist, I treated many men with erectile dysfunction.
That's another topic that we're going to talk about, a chronic disease here in the United States. That is a big problem, easily cured with diet.
Well, the thing is, what we do is, I don't like to use those same kind of medical terminology, cure and that sort of thing.
Okay.
What we want to do is reverse the process that created the problem. So if the problem is caused by inflammation coming from the foods that we're eating, or the milk that we're drinking, or the cheese that we're eating, those kinds of things, and we reverse that and put in things that are not inflammatory. In fact, they're on the opposite end. They're anti-inflammatory because of the phytochemicals the things that create the color in the plants, the fiber in the plants, the fact that our digestive systems are designed to digest these foodstuffs this way. It moves through our system without causing constipation. All of these things, along with water, you don't get this buildup. And when you don't get this buildup, whether it be, because people need to understand, if you have vascular disease anywhere, you have it everywhere.
Oh, I didn't know that. Explain to me why that is.
So people think about they get blockages in the artery of their heart.
Sure.
If you've got blockages in the artery of your heart, you've got them in your brain. The blockages in the arteries go into your brain. You have it in every artery in your entire body. It does not happen in just one part. Oh. It happens everywhere.
So if you're sick cardiovascularly, you're sick everywhere.
That's right.
I see.
If you are at a risk for having a heart attack or had a heart attack, you're also at risk for having a stroke. You're also at risk for having vascular disease or blockages in the arteries in your legs. So you'll notice you'll get pain and cramps when that blockage gets so much so that it restricts the blood so much from flowing into the arteries that feed your thighs and your legs and your feet, that they'll cramp, or you may get pain and things of that nature. So then what do we do? Well, we
usually take drugs.
We take drugs, but we also get procedures done.
Yeah.
We get procedures where you put catheters in our legs or what have you, and they put small wires up. Now, these are life-saving things when we need them, but they don't fix the underlying problem.
So I said to Dr. Kim Williams, and we're going to get to that study that you guys worked on at your church, that people aren't living longer, they're dying longer, because it's just a prolonged process of stints and medication and more of it. So let me ask you, we've talked about these symptoms that we have that are crippling our lifestyle, erectile dysfunction, heart issues, stroke,
and I want to leave the ladies out.
Oh yeah, okay, hit on the ladies.
I got to hit on the ladies. There's a study that, and you should go, and if you don't, you can go look at it at Mike Greger's website.
Oh, Dr. Greger, he's been on this show.
Oh, Mike,
love him.
Great guy,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Shout
I love
out
the
Dr.
fact that he
Greger.
does all of the research, because he says he does it all so that we don't have to.
I love
so
him.
he puts up these wonderful things. But when I read the study that was on his website, that he talked about how any woman who has fewer than 3 bowel movements a week has a 4 times greater likelihood of developing breast cancer.
I thought everybody had bowel movements every day. No? Sorry,
No.
the conversation's taking a turn now. We're talking about bowel movements.
But that's all a part of life.
Right, of course. It's what you put in to
It's
get
what you
put out.
What you put in determines when you let it out and how often. And what happens is when you're only having 2 to 3 bowel movements a week, but you're eating 2 to 3 times a day.
How can your system actually hold that?
That's what we have right now. That's what people are doing. Because a lot of the foods they're eating don't have any fiber.
Meat has no fiber.
Meat has no fiber.
I just learned this. That to me is, I knew it had cholesterol, but I didn't know it had no fiber.
No, fiber comes from the cellulose in the plant. So what happens
can't be healthy without fiber.
Can't be.
Okay.
And so what happens, according to the study, these 1,481 women, white women that were studied.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they looked at those women who had fewer than 3 bowel movements a week, and they aspirated or took out fluid from their breasts, and they found that there were precancerous changes in that fluid. And it was because they weren't eliminating the excess bile acids, which are necessary to help break down the fats and the cholesterol in your blood. But when you're not eliminating those every single day, it gets reabsorbed into the bloodstream. And when it gets reabsorbed into the bloodstream, it concentrates itself in the breast. And they check these bile acids and check to see if they themselves could cause cancer, and they did. That's what the study showed. But when you go from eating the standard American diet to eating a plant-based diet, and you're drinking water, and now you're having a far more normal frequency of bowel movements, like you eat, you poop, just like your kids.
And
when
your
your
dog.
babies,
Yeah.
they eat,
and
then they poop.
Right, yes, yeah.
So it's totally normal that after breakfast, you should poop. After lunch, you should poop.
So you think people should
dinner.
poop 3 times a day?
If they're eating 3 times a day.
Okay, noted.
Now, a lot of people don't, because they've trained themselves that they don't like to poop in foreign places. Okay.
Please weigh in, everybody. I want to know what you think about this. Yes, you also have to be comfortable in the spot.
Well, that's what I say.
Yes,
they don't like
right.
they don't like to go in a foreign place.
Yes. Okay.
But you should, and so you can always hold it. But theoretically, when you're eating plant-based and you're drinking the water, you will poop.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's important.
And it's important. Okay, so we've talked about
We talking about a
a
lot.
lot of stuff. Bad behavior starting with when you're a kid.
That's right.
Then you've got adult onset of all these problems. We've even brought in the Bible as to why it might be the right logic, but more than anything, we've talked about medically why this makes sense. And the simple way to do it, nothing really complicated here, work in more vegetables and fruits. So why isn't it happening? Why aren't more doctors trained in nutrition? Why isn't government, USDA? I mean, I realize that people have to advocate for themselves. I always say this on this show. You need the information so you can advocate for yourself. And if you wait for someone else to do it, you're going to be sick. So I'm not trying to disempower people, but I'm horrified that there's so much misinformation, seemingly almost intentionally out there. I don't want to say that, maybe it's not intentional, but the information is there, what we need to do, and the larger entities aren't putting it forth.
Well, 2 things. Number 1, as a physician, I went to medical school in 1974, graduated in 1978.
You're looking fly, 1974, you're looking fly.
1974. In that time, in the entire time that I was in medical school, I only had 40 minutes of nutrition. That's it.
How bizarre.
No, that's because, and that really wasn't nutrition.
Right.
It was really telling you about deficiency diseases, how to diagnose somebody that had beriberi, which is a vitamin B deficiency, or somebody who didn't get enough iron, or somebody who didn't get enough vitamin C. Things that that we didn't see that much, not in this in a severe level. Even people we took to surgery, right? People would come in for surgery, for bowel surgery. So we would starve them before they ate, before the surgery. Yes. Clean them out. Yes. And then operate on them. And then starve them after surgery for several days and wonder why they didn't always heal as well as they should have.
Oh, I see.
And that was the beginning of what we call hyperalimentation, which was a way to put proteins and fats in through the vein. And we found that there was better wound healing and things of that nature, but never did it pivot to looking at plant-based way of eating as a way to perhaps not requiring the person to have the surgery in the first place.
I love this idea of food as medicine.
Yeah, I only have one caveat about it.
Okay, let's hear it.
I don't like food as medicine.
Okay, tell me why.
I don't, because when we think of medicine, you think of a particular thing you take for a particular condition. And medicines are designed, first of all, most all of them kind of like plant derivative to begin with, including aspirin. But when you look at it, you're looking at one particular chemical that exercises its impact on one particular pathway, a biochemical pathway in your body that then stops a particular process. That's not the way food works. Medicines work singularly. Food works together. So when you eat an apple or a piece of bell pepper or spinach or what have you, you're not getting one thing. You're getting a number of things.
I love this.
That all work together as anti-inflammatory agents or antioxidants or bulk forming. You're getting all of these things
better than medicine, basically.
So it's not medicine. Medicine works by itself. This works together.
Yes, holistically, right?
Holistically, and
I understand this.
And your body is specifically designed.
Yes.
From the way that we take it in our mouths, and we have these teeth that help tear it, and then we have these other teeth in the back that help grind it, and then we have this little short tube that takes it to our stomach, where the acids open it up. And the whole purpose of eating food is to feed all the cells in the body. That's the only reason to eat. And the way that happens, you take in this leaf or these leaves of spinach or whatever it is, and what happens, it goes into the stomach. And what's that whole process where it's being broken down is so that it can break down the food to the level at the cellular level, so that everything that your cells need, it can be extracted, because it goes in the stomach, gets digested, goes through the liver and into the blood to go and do what it needs to do.
So what I love about this is, even if you've had decades of, let's say, meat abuse, if
Absolutely.
I can say that, here's the great news. Look how what an organism your body is, that it can come back.
It'll come back.
God love your body, that it's so powerful that it can come back from this. So I don't want to steal Dr. Williams' thunder, but can you share some of the results from the study? Let's set it up for everybody.
I can't share it right now.
Can or no? You cannot.
I cannot. It's a pilot study.
Yes.
That we did, and we're going to be we haven't discussed it with the participants.
Okay, well, they need to know it first before we do here on Jane Unchained. But can I just tell people, Dr. Williams already mentioned it, that very interesting study. Here we're talking about, we know what we need to do, the body is rooting for us, and it can come back. So let's go ahead and do that. So you took your whole church group, because a lot of eating, let's face it, is cultural. We want to be social. You don't want to stand out, except vegans, because we're so used to standing out. But most people don't want to stand out. They want to eat what everyone else is eating. They must want to take the food they had that their mother made them that, they loved. So you took your whole church group the whole time of Lent, and you got them 3 vegan meals a day, and the results are in, and the next time I see you both, you're going to share them.
Talking about them, yeah.
Okay, very exciting. Were they, let me just give
We took just a subset.
Yeah.
We didn't take, because our church is over 10,000 people.
Okay, well.
So we took we only took 50.
50, okay.
50 people, just as a pilot.
What was the age range?
was all over the place.
All over the place. And sex?
But mostly all adults. All adults, though.
All adults over 20?
Yes.
Okay. And male, female, probably
Yes.
50-50. Okay. And all meat eaters? Or did you keep a control set of some plant eaters?
No. These
All
are
meat
all people
eaters.
that made a decision to do this.
Okay.
So we're very proud of what they did. We're very proud of our church. We're very proud of the leadership in our church that actually supported this happening. And we're very grateful that Dr. Williams was able to help procure what was necessary to get this done.
So one more question on that. Everyone is African American in the study,
Yes.
is that right? Okay, so I want to shout out to Gwenna Hunter and to Chef Babette.
Chef Babette.
Oh, she's so rock star. I just interviewed her. She's so, you know her in Los Angeles.
Of course.
Okay.
Stuff I eat.
Stuff I eat. Yeah, okay, so I told her that as soon as the results come in, I would share them with her. I just interviewed
We'll be sharing
her.
them. I'll be sharing them myself
great.
on everything.
Great,
Yeah.
great. So we'll hear about that. So shout out. It's going to be very interesting. I can't wait to see it. Okay, so we're just about to wrap up here, and I have a couple quick questions for you. These final questions are meant to be like off the top of your head, really fast,
Right.
really, okay. What are we always going to find in your fridge?
You'll always find my supply of blueberries,
Good.
and you'll find apples.
Antioxidants,
And,
fiber.
and you'll find even some, there's a coconut water.
Oh, so good. So
You'll
good.
find organic coconut water, because I use that to make my shakes
Yeah.
in the morning. You'll find also grapes with seeds,
Okay.
gold grapes with seeds. You'll find tomatoes, bell peppers, some cucumbers. You'll find some greens.
Whole Foods
You'll
Farmers
find-
Market is in his fridge.
That's what you're going to find.
Okay.
And you're not going to find a lot, because I don't like to have stuff there for a long period
You
of
want
time.
it fresh.
And you want it fresh. And we have a great market in my community that they have fresh vegetables, and it's just easier just to go 2 or 3 times a week and get them that way.
And get the good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about when you're on the run like today? Thank you for your time today. It's a very busy day for a doctor. You're running. What's your favorite snack? It can be a health snack or it can be a junk food. What's your favorite?
I don't really snack. I really don't snack.
Wow.
I just
Okay. Well,
if I get hungry and I'm out, I will stop and I'll get a salad someplace.
okay. That's not a snack, but okay.
Yeah, but I mean like a
treat.
bar.
Yeah, what's a treat for you?
I think we need to get away from that concept.
Oh, I've lived my whole life on the concept of treats.
But if I want to carry something, I'll carry whatever's in season. Whether it's cherries, grapes,
cherries are great. Yeah.
bananas. Sometimes bananas. Sometimes apples are my favorite though.
Okay. Well,
Apples
you're
are
a
my
doctor, so.
Apples are my favorite. I mean, no. I just like crunchy apples.
Okay.
I do not like.
Favorite kind of apple?
I like I like the delicious apples.
I like Honeycrisp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is too sweet for me.
Oh,
Honeycrisp is too sweet.
So that's my problem, basically. Okay, so you've had a long, busy day. You walk in the house. What's the one thing you can make that's super fast? You can always make it. You know it's a go-to meal and it's good.
I can always get the Harcot string beans.
Oh, okay.
The
Yes.
skinny string beans.
Yes.
And you'd always take some garlic, some minced garlic,
Yep.
some balsamic vinegar, and you can put the beans in, and you can sort of saute them really, really, really quick. And then if I want to make a shake, I'll make a shake. If I want something else to go along with that, I may throw some bell peppers in there. I may do some rice. You can throw some rice in the pressure cooker real quick and get that done. But or most of the time I will go to the same market, and they have pre-prepared meals, vegan meals from Soul Vegan.
Oh, Soul Vegan. We're going to do that on Lunch Break Live. That's coming up.
Okay.
Soul Vegan. He's great.
Soul Vegan. We get those, and I keep several of them in the refrigerator. I just not a lot, maybe 6, and I'll do those, and I'll have one of those to eat. That's the quick thing. That's the quickest thing. But I love my string beans though, with the balsamic vinegar and the olive, and just a touch of some red cayenne pepper.
Oh, that's great. My mother used to make that salad for me when I was little, and I loved it too. Green beans and balsamic and garlic and a little bit
But
of
this is
spice.
cooked. I cook.
Oh, you cook them?
I-
Yes, we
I
do too.
saw
We
the-
do too.
I saute the string beans.
And then we would add some onions and tomatoes. And that's it. It's really good salad. Okay, so just moving right along here. What do you wish you knew 10 years ago that you know now?
I did know it 10 years ago.
Okay, you still, 20 years ago. It's the vegan thing then.
Yeah. I mean,
it's been a life changer for you.
It's been a life changer for me in more ways than one. I've met some incredible people. I lost 47 pounds.
Well,
when I started.
Yeah.
I was over almost 230, and I got down to like 185.
So that's an impetus to start vegan diet right there.
But the thing is, I tell people, don't do anything just to lose weight.
It won't last.
And don't ever diet. Never ever diet. Make a decision you're going to change the way you eat and stick to it. Don't go on a diet. It's the worst thing in the world, because you look psychologically, you program yourself in a diet as a project with the beginning and the end.
Yes, and with loss. I think people associate diet with restraint and loss, and actually a vegan diet is so plentiful in so many things. So I think if you can't
eat everything.
There's so much you can't eat everything.
You can't eat everything.
And I'll just say that if you are having trouble, or you want more ideas, or you want some recipes, hit up my site, ElisabethAlfano.com. I have lots of recipes, easy things that take 10 minutes, so you can just get some good recipes under your belt.
Yeah.
And then you'll see it's not a hard transition. So if anybody has any questions, just hit up my website.
The hardest part about it is here.
Mentally. Just decide
and
for
that's
yourself.
Because now we got a 65-inch television, and you can be watching television, and all of a sudden you'll see a 65-inch burger.
Right, yeah.
Or a sizzling steak. Or fried chicken.
But just imagine if that publicity said, heart disease on a plate. Would you like to pay for that? Here's your future when you eat this. Heart attack in a stint.
Right.
So, they sell it to you like it's something to covet, but
it's not. And you don't see any commercials for plant-based foods. Not yet. But we're
it's
going to
coming.
change that.
Okay, so thanks for giving me my next question. What are your predictions for the future?
I know that the plant-based diet is going to spread.
Yes.
We're seeing it in all demographics. At least I have.
Yeah.
I've seen the change in our congregation and the people I talk to and my friends, everybody, even though they may say, well, I still eat this, but now they're doing more and more and more and more plant-based things. And just a word of caution, try to get really plant-based things, not so much the processed
stuff.
Plant-based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are good. I think they're helpful in your transition, but really try to get to the plant-based stuff.
Yes, you really want to be on a whole food plant-based diet. Right. And the other stuff, I bring back the concept of treats. The other stuff is for the Saturday night treat or the, whatever.
Well, see, this is why I don't like treat. I don't want to associate anything positive with something negative.
Oh, I see. Oh, you're just smarter than me. That's what it comes down to.
No,
I see where you're going with that.
But you understand what I'm saying?
I totally do, because you're psyching yourself out for bad behavior.
That's
you're working
right.
against yourself.
So that's why people, when they do that, they want to have ice cream for a treat. Well, no, that's not a treat.
Yourself.
That's a trick.
Yes, right. Oh, trick or treat. Yes, that's a trick.
That's a trick.
I'm going to steal that, and I'm going to use that from you from now on. My last question before we head out, folks, is what is a phrase that you live by? So if you've had a long day or a hard day, is there anything that you say to yourself to get over the hump? Anything to encourage yourself or inspire yourself?
I'm always grateful to God for every single day that I have. And I just hope I live it in a worthy way and always try to figure out how I can help somebody.
I want to thank you for all that you do, because you do help people. And I know that you've helped people today, and you helped me, and you helped the city of Chicago and Illinois at Cook County Department of Public Health. I am grateful for all of your hard work and all that you do. Shout out to Dr. Terry Mason. We're going to follow up and get those results in that study, because I want to know.
All right.
And this is going to be on WGN Radio later, the podcast, and of course my website, ElisabethAlfano.com. Of course, we are live right now on Jane Unchained. Follow me, follow him, subscribe to all of us, and awesome vegans. We are over and out. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to be vegan.